earlier today, a very prominent official at the Chinese securities regulator, his name is Fang Xinghai, actually said that President Trump's tactics won't work. And he also said that the economy here is strong enough to be able to handle more of the tariffs. In fact, he said that if President Trump does go ahead and impose tariffs on everything that the Chinese send to the United States, it would still only hurt the Chinese economy by 0.7%. So they are ready to continue, as you had said before, like to go to the mat on this issue. He also brought up something else that you guys were talking about on negotiations. He said that the Trump tariffs in this new round had poisoned the atmosphere of these negotiations. And that's also what the Commerce Ministry said today, a little bit less strong, but they said that there's now new uncertainty in the negotiations. So everybody that I was talking to here, in business people or in the government, thought that it is really unlikely that Vice Premier Liu He is now going to go to Washington, as he was set to do next week, to talk with the U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. They said that he would just lose way too much face. And also, one of my sources in the government had said that Liu He has already lost a bit of standing because just from the rank and file, he's being blamed a bit for some of the issues that China has with the United States. So the risk for him is really, really high at this stage. There's
a lot of people that have come on the show in the past and said, you know, we do need to do something about intellectual property theft. But I disagree with the way the Trump administration is approaching it because they're not getting our allies involved. We needed to do, you know, we all need to band together with the EU and Japan and everybody else and put up a united front to do this. And Wilbur Ross seemed to indicate that they've done that. So I wonder if some of the criticism from people that want to do it but think we're doing it the wrong way, I wonder if they're addressing that right now. I mean, do you get the feeling that it's not just, does China know it's not just the United States now?
Right. And so there are actually a lot of people here as well in the business community have been saying that they agree with this approach. In fact, I was talking with the U.S.-China Business Council folks, and they were saying that they believe that China does have to be, the issues of IP and technology have to be addressed with China, but they just don't agree that tariffs are the way to go with this. I've heard many times before that people say that the United States should collaborate with its neighbors. But also there were some interesting surveys that have been coming out from the American Chamber of Commerce as well as the U.S.-China Business Council. So the American Chamber of Commerce had said that 3 out of 4 companies now that they've surveyed have said that they expect to be hit by this latest round of tariffs. 2 out of 3 think that they're going to be hit by the Chinese tariffs. And already more than half say that they have experienced what the Chinese have described as qualitative measures. So these are tax audits or greater scrutiny and inspections. And so they fear that that's just going to get worse.
Well, I don't know. We're waiting for some type of big market reaction if it's a full-blown trade war. You know, it could happen any time, I guess, but we shouldn't get, think, well, we're okay. We shouldn't get complacent, I guess. But, you know, markets are up again today. They're down a little yesterday, but you know, this is getting serious.
Joe, one more, if I have a couple more minutes, I mean, I'll try to keep it to a couple of seconds, but just, so the expectation now is that China has said that they have no choice but to retaliate simultaneously. So now people here think that that means that on September 24th, China is going to slap the tariffs on that $60 billion worth of goods, even though they haven't actually said it yet. But that's the expectation. And then the other measures are, as I mentioned, the fear about these extra qualitative measures. And then finally, something new has come up. And that was described by the former finance minister, Lou Jiwei, who said over the weekend that China could use export restraints. So these would be restrictions on Chinese companies from selling important components to American manufacturers. And something that's come up is the idea of the rare earths. So China is a huge supplier to the United States of rare earth metals. And rare earth metals were taken off of the U.S.'s list. So now there's been this talk, will China now restrict rare earth metals, which are used in consumer electronics, radars, as well as a lot of other products, in order to punish the United States?
Although if we were to go ahead with the rest of the threats, you'd be seeing every single item that's imported taxed anyway. So it may be off the immediate list. I mean, I think part of the problem is there are different time frames between these two societies. China thinks it's making progress and helping. Americans have a much shorter time frame for where they want to see it, and that's like a 4,000-year-old civilization going up against one that's less than 250 years old. We want progress faster, want to see things moving.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a little bit of a culture clash there.
Different time frames and also different political systems as well. Well, culture, like you said. So the political systems that are clashing right now are, you have President Xi Jinping, who has a tight grip on pretty much everything, versus President Trump, who still has to accommodate what the public thinks.